Greetings, fellow thinkers, I guess. I don't know what the right word for that would be. I have a new feature. This is the words that I'm speaking manifest into a chaotic orbital pendulum vector diagram thing. So the more words that I say faster, the more it will get chaotic, and we can observe in real time the words that are spoken. They disappear over time, so as long as I don't talk too fast, we should see pretty cool shapes develop as the conversation progresses. This is one of the dynamic ways that I imagine that space functions. I was recently challenged to produce questions, I guess, yin yang and whatnot being as they are. I've been called upon to serve my function as a part of that cycle of events. And I love watching this just do things. It's fantastic, I think. It's pretty crazy though when you give it a really big word, then it gets really heavy on one of the sides. Crepuscular. Oh yeah, look at that whip action that it does. So, I guess being as it is with nature and how things work, I'm interested, I guess, to know what other people think. Fundamentally, one of the root ethics, or not ethics, principles maybe, of the theories that we all have and share, for me, is this kind of shape constantly being evolved and changing over time, updated, as it were, moving through vectors of space and time. I don't like when my neck looks so big. I should be wearing those rings. I don't remember what they're called, but yeah. Anyway, so can't see when I make a sad face because of my neck, but maybe this will be better. There you go. Now you can see I look like I'm sitting at a table. Fantastic. So, I do want to speak slowly. This is kind of my reminder that I'm talking too fast. Optimal rate of speech is about 3 words per second. Of course, enunciation and pronunciation are important, so those play a part. Hopefully this becomes a series. I don't want to be a lecturer. I'm more interested in just exploring thoughts and comprehension, specifically those of others, so that perhaps I can change them, change my own, learn something. Where I'm at the moment, there's actually only ever been like 2 people I've ever met that match pace with my thoughts. I haven't, unfortunately, had the privilege of exploring that with them too much, so I'm hoping that sending this call out into the YouTube universe will facilitate something in that direction. There's a hint that it's possible, and I'd like for that to be true. Yeah. Sorry, I get distracted watching this thing. Every time it does a rotation, I imagine that this is like the swirling of my consciousness traveling through dimensional space and time, arriving, sort of like this into the moment. And if we took a snapshot or a slice, like a picture in time, and space. So like everything's frozen. That you could track everything through this mechanic, but it's chaos, right? This is chaotic, but it's not. It's just math. And we see that with SVG images, for example, the vector graphics that are drawn precisely using this same dynamic. If you turn it on and let it run a little bit, it creates a, you know, an rabbit or something. I don't know. It's running away. It'll be back. I have to talk slower. That's my reminder, as I said. But the function of how, I guess, the dynamic of how space works, how time works, is something that I've always felt I disagree with some of the mainstream sciences. Obviously, where'd my hand go? Some of them are like working towards, resolving that. And I think they're arriving slowly at where my sentiments have always been for a while anyway. They've been updated over time, changed, modified, but I think so far I haven't really been disproven per se. It's kind of fun to think about that 25 years ago I predicted a few things and most of it's actually happened, at least in the ways of science anyway. I don't think I could have predicted that it would have happened necessarily, but eventually I had a feeling it would, or it should. So here we are. I find myself vlogging to the internet. Hopefully somebody's out there willing to answer the call.